I'm Havoc, and this is Minecraft All the Mods 3. We are right back at it again today over at our little sort of factory area. the what was supposed to be super temporary that's gone on much longer than it should have, just like every single game where you make a dirt hovel and you live in it for forever before you finally move out. Yes, that's where we're starting right now. We are going to look at something to remedy that problem, but first let's take a slight little stroll through our mine colony and take a look at things. So I've been working on the pathway, and there's stuff that's still not grass. It has to be grass for me to turn into the pathway, but I have sort of laid out the path kind of roughly along where it's going to go, and this will obviously change because every time we change the building up and they edit blocks, we'll have to go back in and change things. And this path here will go around this as it becomes higher tiers, but I kind of wanted a rough estimate of how it looks. Oh, and you probably noticed I went ahead and I got the tier 1 building for the delivery hut and the warehouse done, and I do believe I've already assigned the delivery man. Let's see. Manage workers. Oh, no, maybe I haven't. Just kidding. Yes, that's right. That's what I did. I did the restaurant. I went ahead and I assigned someone to the restaurant since it's finished over here. Callum is now our innkeep. And he is doing a great job of nothing because we have nothing for him to do right now. There's nothing for him to cook in there. But what we have is the start of a beautiful little mine colony, and we will expand more on this, but that's not what today's episode is about. Today's episode is about making a new factory, base, building, location, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to be right over here. I don't want to be too far away from my mine colony, but I also don't want to be kind of right inside of it. So I have flattened this hill area and terraformed it to be really nice. And we're going to build a building right over here. I'm thinking of a tower of sorts, a building that we go vertical with so we don't have to take up a whole lot of real estate as far as expanding out. And so if we look at the claimed chunks, this island roughly fits in a 3x3 area, and I want to try and build not all the way to the very edge of every chunk, but sort of maybe like a 2x2 chunk area inside of this with a half chunk of buffer all the way around, roughly. Not 100%, not exact numbers, but that general area, and build vertically and also vertically down as well, not just up, but also do things underground, basements and bits and bobs down there. So I want to look at some different block types that we might end up using in order to build our building, our factory, our tower. It's going to be like Stark Tower, only it's going to be Havoc Tower. Name's a work in progress. Don't worry, don't worry. But I have collected a assortment of blocks right here because, as you probably know, as I've said before, there are several other people that play on the server. And speaking of, let me just show you. If I go to spawn, I put a block down to mark where spawn is. I have set up the beginnings of what's going to be a shop. Right now I was just testing out how this works and if it would function like I was expecting, and it does. So these are trade-o-mats, and you can see I'm the owner, and so if I right click on them I can change what the trade is, but what I'm offering are 8 Plowman's Lunch, which is the best food you can get on the server, for 32 gold coins from Thermal Foundation. And if I go around to the back, I have a personal safe which no one else can access but me, and I have Plowman's Lunch in it. And so what that means is if someone else comes up to click, whoop, I'm flying everywhere. If someone comes up and they right click on this, what they see is that I will sell them Plowman's Lunch for 32 gold coins, and they can see I have 63 in stock. What that means is 63 trades, because you noticed I had a lot more than just 63. So I have 63 sets of 8 that I can sell, and someone's already bought 3 times. They've bought 24 of my Plowman's Lunch, and I collected from that. And then over here, this one, I want redstone, so I'm offering redstone. A stack of redstone is what I want them to come bring me, and I offer them 8 gold coins for this redstone. And you can see I put a whole lot of gold coins in there so I can buy a lot, and I have sold or purchased 6 stacks of redstone here. And then I'm also purchasing coal and offering 8 gold coins. No one has done that yet, and I need to check on, make sure everything is good. Yes, so I have coins in here, and these coins are really neat. There are a lot of different coins. They can be made out of any kind of material you really think of, any kind of metal material or alloyed material. And there are really weird ones. I'm just looking through. I didn't look at these ones. Abyssal Night. I don't even know how you get Abyssal Night itself. Abyssal Craft. That seems like something really hard to get. That might be what we do for more things, but gold's pretty easy. Oh, gotta sleep. Come over here to a flat surface. Gold is something that is pretty simple to come by. It's not that hard. So, like in a lot of RPG games, you get like you get coppers, then silver, and then gold is the big thing. And sometimes platinum beyond that, but gold is like the big end. It's like your $20 bills, your $100 bills, you know. Whereas the pennies, the coppers on my server are going to be gold coins, because gold is very easy to come by on here. So that'll be the pennies, and then I'm not sure what will be the silver and gold equivalents. We might find something that's hard to come by, maybe like titanium, maybe this Abyssal Night. I don't know. Enderium coins, something that is a little bit more pricey will be for your more pricey objects. Instead of just asking for an entire stack of gold coins, we'll ask for one of the more rare coins for that. But this also needs to be a building. Right now I just have the kind of one wall, but this is the palette that I'm thinking about building with. These block types give me a very industrial feeling for a factory, and I'm really liking them. This is the factory block with Chisel. These are still scaffoldings from Immersive Engineering. These still structural arms, which I'm going to end up probably using painted items from Ender.io to do things like this, because this is super expensive in steel, which is not something I can come by easily right now. And then I have these lovely steel wall mounts from Immersive Engineering to hang the lamps off of, so it kind of looks like lights. And we will play around. These 4 little pillars are a 1 chunk boundary, so here, there, over there, and over there. And I want to make a shop, a building in which they're going to go into to purchase things, not just walk up out here and all crazy. And we will terraform stuff around here as well. Let's see, I claimed right down the center here, I'm going to make kind of a road, and then right here, because this is spawn right down here, I want a road that goes up, and then each person will be able to come in and claim 1 chunk off of this road, and they will be able to build a little shop and sell different things. That way you don't have to necessarily do everything in the mod pack. There are 300 something mods in all the mods 3, and sure, I intend to in the long run touch every single mod and do a little bit out of everything. And I want to do like a museum with all the different block types, and the spaceship I'm talking about building for end game, where I'm going to collect all the different creatures and name them and have them on display. But not everyone that plays on the server is going to want to do that. Some guys, they may not want to touch different mods. They may not want to deal with things. And so we'll have a shopping district here for them to mess around with, and maybe go over and purchase, who knows what they're going to want to buy from somebody who's already well into a mod and just sells items from that, rather than them worrying about doing it all themselves. But we're going to go back home now, and like I said, those are kind of the block templates that I want to go with. But something that I need to look at is the steel scaffolding. Is I'm wondering, it's very expensive. It's very expensive. And I have this painting machine. If I put a steel scaffolding block in there, can I paint cobblestone? No. What can I paint with the... Or can I paint cobblestone? I just can't do it with steel scaffolding. Interesting. Show recipes. Okay, so there's a lot of different things you can do. That's weird. I didn't know you could make a water slab. I will have to mess around with that for sure. I was hoping I could save some steel and paint things to look like steel scaffolding. There are a lot of recipes in here, but they're all kind of looking like the same. There's the stone, the poppy, and the water. And then you just paint different items with those, which is odd. Transparent hard conduit facade painted like water. Really weird stuff. I thought you could use the painter to paint any kind of item. So hold on here. You can't place that there. Okay, I'll have to do some playing around with that and figure out what's going on. I'm thinking there's a really good use for this. I'm just not sure if I'm doing it just right, and we will mess around with that and figure out. But what we want to do is plan out sort of what it's going to look like, where are our barriers, you know, what's our boundary going to look like, as I said, and it's going to fit roughly in here inside of this area, but I also want it to not look weird. I want it to look kind of natural, so we may have to do a little terraforming with that. Let's grab some cobblestone to mark off pillars, and we are going to do F9 to show the chunk boundary. So this is the dead center of the chunk. And like I said, I want to do not right on the edge of the chunk that I have claimed, but I also don't want to leave too much dead space everywhere. So 2, 3, 4. Let's just kind of say I want to put right around in here. And what does this give me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way. Okay, so we're 5 in from each side and a little off from the center of this chunk. And that's fine. I don't want the building to be flat and box-like. I don't want just a square where you just got this and then back to this, then back to this, and then this is a rectangle. I don't want it to be just like so. I want some differences to it. I want it to be unique and dynamic and have depth. So we're going to say how far over this boundary though that I'm putting is just roughly, I don't want the building to be any larger than this. So if I come in 5 and then we're going all the way over to here, see, this is going to be really far out in this direction. Even though I am claiming this chunk that we're currently in, I'm not going to utilize this one as much. So let's come in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And probably something along the lines of the edge of this. And we can always adjust this as we go. I'm just trying to get a good idea of what this is going to look like. And then I need to go through this chunk into the next chunk, and this is again the halfway point is right dead here, but I don't want to use that much. I'm going to probably just use the edge of this, and then I can also start at the bottom right here and then maybe do a stair step out where there's an overhang higher up where the floor comes out a little bit in order to make good use of this chunk that I'm claiming, just not down here at the ground where I do want it to look decent. So I'm just making messes with cobble everywhere. But I'm trying to explain what's going on in my head, what I'm envisioning. using all these things for. So this is roughly no larger than this. And then we can terraform around it so it doesn't look awful. But this is a lot of space. I mean, if you look at this, that's a very decent amount of area to set up machines and have different floors. Now for the bottom floor, I'm thinking the front will probably be right around in here. And I want like a grand entryway into it. So hold on, I have blocks with me. I was about to go grab blocks. Also, I can access the system wirelessly. So we're going to say concrete. And just drop down here. And like I said, I want the front of this building to be right along here. And then I need to figure out what kind of door I'm going to use. What am I going to do for the entryway into what will be my Havoc Towers? Or my industry building here. And there are a lot of different door options. There is at Malice Doors, I think it's M-A-L-I-S. Yes, so this door factory from Melissa's Doors will allow you to make custom doors. There's also just the factory door, jail door. There's a lot of doors that come with this, including a high-tech door. This one is actually really cool. Let's look at this one real fast. I can just make one and put it down, and I'm definitely going to be utilizing this. I just don't know. Let's put a few more blocks down so I have a floor to walk on. I don't know where each of the different door types are going to be because I don't want to just have every single door is exactly the same. Again, I want some variety, some difference. But this door, high-tech doors, definitely got the feel that I'm looking for. And the sound is just amazing. It's got the little graphic in the middle where it locks the door. I like it. I don't know if that'll be the front door. I need to sleep before I get attacked by something. I can easily kill it, but I just don't want to be bothered. My laser is quite lethal. Dead chicken. Getting distracted again, but let's see. We can lay out, misclicking, a little bit of floor, and then figure out what I want to be. There'll be some kind of stairway up to here to the main door, and then I want the door to probably be on this layer if I choose to go with that door. Also, I made this fancy magnet that allows me to pick items up and they go directly into my system. Probably going to have to turn that off while I'm building when I go to pick something up and don't want it to go flying away. It's an extra step to open this and search for it rather than just pick it back up from your inventory. But like I was saying, there are different kind of doors, and I might do a really fancy custom door for this. Another thing with this door is that it actually opens into the block. And so I have to make sure I don't want this to be hanging out. This needs to be some kind of a solid block here. Probably just something along these lines. In order to make it look like the door slides into the wall and doesn't go anywhere crazy. And then I like to use quite clear glass. So if I say, I've already made some quite clear glass, here we go, and put it right above this, it just feels to me a little bit better. The door feels kind of short, being only 2 blocks high, but 3 blocks wide. If you don't have a transparent block above it, it gives a I'm going to smash my head kind of feeling to me. So I like to have something like quite clear glass up above it to give that transparency. It doesn't feel cramped around the door anymore. And that's a pretty nice looking setup for an entryway. But like I was saying, I want to add depth to this. I don't want just trying to think how to say this. I don't want it to be bland. I don't want a box, and I don't want things to be all flat and one-dimensional. And so we're going to have to work on that. Also, I really like to have windows. If it's going to be a entryway into here, then it needs to have some kind of windows, and I can do that with the quite clear glass, but I'm curious. I'm also going to make use of Chisel, which is an incredibly powerful mod. We're going to make a diamond chisel, and then I need to go ahead and make a chisel piece. So we will put down a block and chisel out a couple of bits from it. Now you want to be careful because there are a lot of bits in this block, and you can fill your inventory up in a heartbeat if you don't make one of these bags beforehand. So that's the first thing on the list. I made 2 of these little bits so I can make 2 bags, and then we're just going to pick that up for now. It will not stack with other cobblestone items, so if I go down to the bottom, it'll be right here. Chiseled rock cobblestone. It is no longer a normal cobblestone block. It is a block from the Chisels and Bits mod because we took a couple of bits out of it. But what I want to do here is press Alt, go to Pane, and what is it? Left click. Uh-oh, can you not chisel quite clear glass? Interesting. Oh yeah, because I can definitely chisel down these blocks, and this is going to put 1 stack of the bits in my inventory, and the rest will go into here. See, there's 488 already in here, and all I did was click this a couple of times. So the only thing here is, like I was saying, it looks like, can I do a single block by itself? No. So the Ender IO quite clear glass is not compatible with this, but there's also clear glass from Tinker's Construct, which is just glass that comes out of the smeltery. So let's see real fast, I can do that in a heartbeat, if I might be able to use that, because I don't want regular glass panes. I'm not a big fan of the regular glass panes. I want it to be a little thicker and to be very customized, so I can add in a special rim around it or any manner of things, and we're going to want it pumping out right over here. So we're actually going to steal the clock, and of course everything is going into the system. We're going to just plop that right down over here, and I want it to pour out into this, and I never automated this either, so maybe the better solution was to swap these out instead. And I want a cauldron, is it? No. Basin. Casting basin to go here, and then I need the clock and lever. So clock and then lever. Just grab all of them out, that's fine. And actually, we already have something better than this. That was very old. We have conduit, which is much faster, especially being the fact that it's Ender conduit. I can get rid of the faucet completely, add the conduit here, and tell it to be active with signal, and then just tell it to do that. And it's much faster than the faucet is anyways. So let's make use of the things that we have at our disposal. And before I go flying way over there, I want to see, oh yes, good. So I can shrink this block down. So you see, this is like a vertical glass slab now, but it still has the texture. However, now I'm curious if I place this. Yeah, see, that's the issue that I'm going to have, is that every one of these is going to have that white little area, and that's also not something I want to go with. So maybe we're going to end up using the thick glass anyways, a full block of the quite clear glass. Now I can come here and just restore this to being a full block by adding all the bits back, and you'll see it now says Tinker's Construct Clear Glass again. And we're going to need to play around with that. I may end up using panes. I'm not sure if there are quite clear glass panes. Question mark? Let's see. No, it just makes white stained glass panes, which would be very bad because quite clear glass is a whole extra process. You have to run glass through an alloy smelter again in order to get quite clear glass. It's not just normal glass. So there's going to be some messing around with that to figure out what exactly I want to do. But like I said, I definitely want to have depth here, and let's go ahead and return those to being normal. I'm not sure what I will go with, how I'm going to mess with this, but I definitely want to get things figured out and set up over here. And we're going to move this in a little bit is what I'm thinking, because like I said, I want glass windows on either side, and because I put the door really close to this side, I didn't leave myself enough room in order to do that. But we need to plan out sort of what we're going to have. I'm going to have the main entry. I think, like I said, I'm going to have a small lobby area maybe with a desk that I'll decorate with a computer craft computer and some screens and things like that. And then you'll move past there into probably the ground floor factory area. And I'm thinking on the second floor is where I'm going to want to put my main AE network and some quick access machines. I'm going to start automating a lot more machines using my AE system once I have a permanent home for them to go, because as you can tell with this one, I already use export buses in order to export things, but there's another way to do this too, and that is you can put an interface on here and tell it, hey, here's a recipe that you can do in this machine with these ingredients, and have it run through there. And I definitely want to do more of that so that I can just start requesting, 64 of whatever, say 64 of the dark steel ingots, and then it will come over here and there'll be an interface here, and it'll say, hey, if you put 1 steel, 4 pulverized coal, and 1 obsidian into this machine, you'll get a dark steel out. And we'll have to pump back into the interface using something, probably Ender IO conduit. And that's how we'll set it up. So I can say, I want you to make X amount. And the system will tell me if I have enough ingredients to make it. And if there are, and I start telling it, the system will just sit there and pump into that machine, accept the ingredients back, and build for me. And that's what I want to get going ASAP. Oh, also, you probably noticed that I built these coke ovens, and I've been processing coal in them in order to make, here's 2 stacks of coal, in order to make coal coke, because this can be used to make steel very, very efficiently, much cheaper than any other way I know of. And what these things do is it takes the coal, and it, over a very long amount of time, will turn that 1 coal into coal coke, and then it produces a little bit of creosote. Now, I have creosote here in this hardened tank. I've got 80 buckets of it. And then the rest just goes up here into a fluid nullifier and is destroyed, so that this can keep processing. Because if I allowed it to fill up with creosote, it would stop working. It would stop processing the coal. So I just have it nullify the extra amount, so I don't end up with tons of it left over. And then I need to make a blast furnace. And that is not that hard at all. It just takes some brick, some nether brick, and a little bit of blaze powder, and I have access to all of those. You get enough blast brick, and it's a multi-block structure just like these are right over here, where you place all the blocks down, and then you take the hammer here, the engineer's hammer, and you just hold the hammer and right-click in the center, and it turns the blocks into the multi-block structure. And I'm going to get into immersive engineering more later on. Right now I want to get out of my little my little cave that I prettied up so it didn't look awful here. I want to have an actual factory. So that's going to be the plan. I'm going to work on that some off camera and get things built, but just wanted to go over some of those things with you, show you how the mine colony is looking and a little bit of the block choices that I have and an update on the things that I've been working on off camera. And when I see you next time, hopefully we'll have some more of it built and I can work on showing off how I'm going to utilize my ME system. But if you enjoyed today's episode, feel free to hit the like button, and if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you all next time.